Alright, welcome back to another day. So today's project is going to be cleaning up the welds on the floor pans and coating them. So I've kind of debated back and forth in my mind what we're going to do. I really like the way the Raptor lining looks, but I figured painting would be easier and probably a little cheaper. The Raptor liner is not 100% cheap. That's where you can buy a couple of quarts of paint like Rust-Oleum pretty cheap. So after debating it though, I'm going to do the Raptor liner. I like it. It looks better, and this is a long-term car, so we're going to do what I want to see on it. That means we're going to take a wire wheel, clean all the welds down, all the little gnarly things on there, the little slag and all that, and the flux off there, and clean up any of the grease marks or anything like that. And we're going to actually just do the pans and the main tunnel. I'm not going to paint the front suspension. That's going to be paint. The rear arms and all that is going to be paint. I'm not so sure what I'm going to do about torsion housing, because I do want to weld a tube crossing over to support the body on it. So I might not do those either, because I could paint that. So definitely the floor pans and the main chassis will get Raptor lined, and that's what we're going to do today. So first thing we got to do is move this to the backyard, because I don't want to paint my neighbors' houses and cars with Raptor lining. So let me move this thing out of here and we'll get to work. Alright, so I wire brushed down the floor pan here where all the welds were to get all the welding slag and stuff off it. Now we're going to seam seal it. I went to every auto parts store in my town, and the only place I could find any seam sealer was AutoZone. So it's Evercoat seam sealer. We're going to use that. And Evercoat makes pretty good products. I've used their stuff before. So we're going to seam seal all this and on the other side, and then we're going to flip it over and do the bottom also. Alright, we got it all seam sealed up. Glad I'm not painting, because it would look pretty crappy. But with the Raptor liner, it's going to make a nice little splatter pattern everywhere, so it doesn't really matter. As you can see, here's my gusset that I put on there, and you can see how these come down to bullets now, instead of just like a straight line across. What usually happens is you end up with like two of these looking weird. So that's better than I've seen. Not like what I wanted. I really wanted them to match like that one, but the chassis is just a different length. I've actually thought about drilling all the spot welds out and just cutting it down here, which would have been the nicest way to do it, but there's a whole lot of spot welds. There's 2 spot welds for every spot weld there on that chassis, so I didn't want to go through all that work. That was a lot of labor just for no real gain. Nobody's ever going to see it. So anyways, we got the center section all cleaned. I'm going to leave basically everything from the torsion tube back is going to get painted, and the reason for that is I have some welding to do on that stuff. There's going to be a bar that goes over the shock horns to support the rear body. I have a Berg mid mount that needs to be welded in, so all that stuff. And I might switch this mount out for our early model, and there's going to be welding that has to happen there. I can do that with paint a lot easier than I can do with the Raptor liner. So we'll Raptor line the whole front section here. Right now I have 1/2 can. I'm going to see how far that goes, and then that will give me a judgment of how much I need to go buy. They sell the Raptor liner at AutoZone also. All the other places sell like the Rust-Oleum stuff. The Raptor liners work pretty well for me and other people I've seen use it. So we're going to get the compressor out and start spraying. Alright, there we go. Took about 3 cans to do it, just for reference if you're thinking about doing it. I played it on pretty thick in some areas though. And the first little half can that I did, which was not even half, maybe like a quarter, I had it on 80 psi, which is way too much. It's supposed to be around 40 to 60. So that one went real quick. But if you're going to do this, one thing to remember is where your chassis numbers are, you need to tape off, okay? Because you'll fill in the numbers and nobody will be able to read them again. So that's the Raptor Liner on the flat out custom floor pans. I think it looks pretty good. It covers real good. You can add color to these from my understanding and tint it to whatever color. This was already black, and that's the color I wanted to go with, is black, because it's going to be a chassis. The back side, I did do the torsion tube and the little purchase, but from there on back, I'm just going to sand down and paint. There's going to be some welding to go on for the Berg mid-mount, and then, like I say, I'm going to make a brace going across for the body back there, so all that's going to get painted. I can do that with Rust-Oleum or something like that. Probably use a VHT chassis paint. That stuff works really nice. Anyways, there you go, boys and girls. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back for the next installment, and we'll start putting the body on.